In Los Angeles County, more than 60,000 people are homeless on the average night. And more than 20,000 hotel rooms lie empty on the average night. See where this might be going?
It's insane. It isn't going to solve the problem.
We think this is one part of the solution. By no means do we think this solves the homelessness crisis. But do hotels have a role to play? Of course they do.
So the union he leads, which reps hotel workers, gathered enough signatures and Angelenos will vote on a bill that would force every hotel in town to report vacancies at 2 p.m. every day, then welcome homeless people into those vacant rooms.
Honestly, would you check into a hotel knowing that the chance of your neighbor to the left or right is a homeless individual?
Manoj Patel voluntarily rents some rooms to homeless people who are vetted and paid for by a local church, but he's against this bill that would make that mandatory.
We barely are surviving, number one. Number two, we have to think of the safety of our staff. And number three, we're not professionally or any otherwise equipped with any of the supporting mechanism that the homeless guest would require.
What services would be provided remains unclear. Also unclear the funding, and hotels would be paid fair market rate.
It's up to the city. I mean, they did it during Project Roomkey.
The pandemic-era program now winding down that inspired this bill by placing more than 10,000 people in hotels that volunteered. Sean Bigdelli among them.
Well, first of all, it's a blessing. It's a great room. The technology is not up to par, but you know, what technologies do you have in a tent?
This bill would also force developers to replace housing demolished to make way for new hotels, and hotel permits would be introduced, as well as making every hotel from a Super 8 to the Biltmore accept homeless people as guests.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Why not?
Maybe for some, but you know, there's a lot of people with untreated mental health, and some people do some damage to these poor buildings, man.
This happened in Manoj Patel's motel.
And she marked all walls, curtains she burnt, thank God there was no fire, even marked the ceiling.
Opponents of housing the homeless in hotels fear this, and fear tourists could be put off from even coming to LA.
I wouldn't want my kids around people that I'm not sure about. I wouldn't want to be in an elevator with somebody who's clearly having a mental break. The idea that you can intermingle homeless folks with paying normal guests, it just doesn't work out.
We don't want to head backwards into the segregated South, but that's kind of the language that they're talking about. There's a certain class of people, less than humans, animals they almost describe them as, to be honest with you. They don't seem to understand who the unhoused are. We're talking again about seniors, students, working people. That's who the voucher program would benefit the most.